Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us if you're watching live, and for those of you listening later, this is Brandon and Eric with the GP and NAG Industries podcast.
With the family in the background.
With the family in the background. All right. So tonight we have two special guests with us. Two. Not just one, two. Dose. Two of the, I don't know, would you say greatest AR manufacturers in the country right now?
So I would not say, let me put it this way. So Rainier Arms is not necessarily a manufacturer of stuff yet. No, so they take everybody's stuff, and I would say Eric's one of the greatest AR builders in the industry because he doesn't just take Rainier Arms stuff, he takes Novette, whatever parts come through, and he can explain more on that. And then where Drew is super unique, Master of Arms, he's that I think technology-wise in ARs, they are the future. That would be my answers to that. Because, I mean, you just Mr.
So,
like
I
himself.
said, you just had to go and overcomplicate everything I said. So, in that, joining us tonight is Eric from Rainier Arms and Drew from Master of Arms, the world makers of the world's lightest AR. All right, Master of Arms literally makes the lightest AR in the world. Eric is the main man at Rainier Arms when it comes to the platforms and series and weapons side of things. Welcome, gentlemen. Because Junior zoned out on me.
Afternoon. Thanks for the invite.
So, let's talk a little bit about, who wants to go first, Drew or Eric?
I've never done this before. Let Eric go. No, I've never done this before either.
Well, in that case, you're going to have to Rochambeau for it. So, I mean,
Rock,
that's literally
why you go first, Drew.
All right. So, Drew, you guys make the world's lightest AR in the world.
We do. That's my baby. I partnered up with a guy years ago now because I wanted my wife to go shooting, but she's 5'1" and we're hold my AR, which was your standard AR. So I went about lightning.
Well, that's you are coming in all sorts of broken and fucked up right now.
I've got good rifles and bad mics.
Now, in all fairness, for now, two of us here are soldiers. I know that for sure. Now, did either of you? I know. I'm pretty sure. Wasn't Eric in the Marines?
No. I'm a little autistic, but I'm not a Marine.
I was trying to, dude. It's been 2 years since I met everybody at Rainier at that shoot, so I can't remember.
Oh yeah,
it's hard for me to remember who's who anymore. So now, look at me. Look who stepped on their dick. This guy. That's right. All right. So anyway, now that Drew has stopped.
Look, Ma, no hands.
Ma, no hands.
Say all that again, Drew.
I wanted to build it lighter, so I built it as light as I could. At the time, I was working for a machine shop called Next Intent. We did some awesome shit over there. We built the Mars rover wheels. We were no stranger to extremely exotic alloys for making jet engines and Mars rover parts and shit. So I was able to play around with some, solution treated and aged titanium. I was able to get on the lathe whenever I wanted and cut a bit off. And I ended up making a 3.6 pound AR. And for safety, the one we sell is 3.75, I think. We added a little bit back on and some stress points. But that was fun. That's 3.75 with optic.
With optic. Now, I was on the website earlier today too, and I noticed you guys are doing titanium 3D printing. We polymer 3D print with the Mark IVs, but I was like, holy crap, I bet that's the coolest stuff ever. So
Pretty sweet.
Now yours, though, you guys have the one that is laser centered. That's where it actually. Here I am, like this is when you can tell you're dealing with an idiot because I'm this.
That's the thing.
But anyhow, yeah, it does the laser centering, whereas normal metal 3D printing, you print it and then you have to put it in a furnace.
We do both, actually. It's a laser centered, which is a pretty typical process. But then we put it in something afterwards called hot isostatic pressing, which is basically where you bring it up to a high temperature and an extremely high pressure. And whatever voids are left over in the titanium, little air bubbles and shit, it heats it up, squeezes them out, and you get a better product afterwards.
Sorry, I'm trying to do like 18 different things at once. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at that stuff because we've looked at some of that stuff before, and it's just amazing what that technology does and how just through sometimes software upgrades to make the resolution tighter, the way the prints come out is just ridiculous. And so it's always fascinated me how that stuff works. I mean, and plus, I think it's cool to know if you're going to buy a weapon, like, how's it made? How does that work if I'm buying? Because I mean, we all know we're not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, it's totally affordable for the. I mean, this is a serious weapon. This isn't something that your average person's going to run out and buy right away. Because I mean, the base model's around $3,900.
No, that's the one with optics, I think.
Okay.
30 or something like that, which I'm not arguing is your cheapest rifle.
Yeah. No, and I'm not in any way saying I came off dickish, but that's not what I meant. But it's just this. I think right now in the current climate with so many new gun owners, people are scrambling to buy whatever they can get their hands on, and this is a very top tier weapon. I mean, this is something that's going to run, but you also need to understand how your AR works, how to run an AR before you step up to this kind of level.
I'm not going to agree with you totally on that, and here's why. My upper receiver is a closed system. You can't take it apart. It's got to come back to me to be pulled apart, and that's the whole barrel tensioning. And as a result of that, you can't adjust the gas block. Our trigger is fixed. Our buffer system is fixed. It really is kind of a closed system with nothing really to it. Don't run weight or extremely heavy. You're going to be fine.
Say that last part again. You cut out real quick, but it was ammo. I love when other people in the industry are on with this, and they because people never believe me. They're like, "Oh, I don't care. It should run anything." I'm like, "No, that's not how weapons work, man."
Least favorite conversation right here.
Yeah, right. Eric knows because he does on a much larger scale what I do, and as the guy that gets all the technical questions, you have to explain a lot of time. Like, no, that's definitely your ammo. Well, I think it should run Wolf. Well, that's not how guns work.
So, a funny little side note. 3 of us in this meeting know this person. Remember that event we did and the guy that sponsored all the food?
Yep.
Well, Eric knows exactly what rifle I'm talking about. He sold a whole bunch of Russian surplus ammo. My gun isn't running. And I'm like, I knew it was the ammo. I was like, let me send it up to Eric to just re-verify. And Eric's like, gun runs fine. There's nothing wrong. I was like, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And anyone listening later or watching now, don't take this as us trashing anything. But you guys, this is straight from the professional's mouth. This is the guy who makes them. So,
well, here's the easiest. Just put it on easy terms. Sorry for cutting you off, random. It's like the food you put in your body. That's how I explain it to everybody. You put crappy food in you get crappy performance. You put good food in you get awesome performance.
If I'm going to go run a marathon, I'm going to sit down and have a good food. And I'm not going to get super, super angry if I have taco time and then take a fat shit right before, right?
Like, or
if my
while
run
running.
is interrupted by diarrhea because I made a decision about bad food, like that's on me.
Exactly.
But that's like the worst conversation though for us, because depending on what we're building or the parts that we're using will determine like what kind of ammo it's going to run. And it happens way too often that, we got to walk them through that. Okay, if your gun's malfunctioning, it's ammo, it's magazine, lubrication, or operator error. And no one wants to hear that. But the reality is like, hey, those are the parts that they're consumables and they're variables, and people don't necessarily understand that coming right into the industry, that ammo, each single round will vary. That it will happen. There are going to be variances. There's going to be differences in the lube that you use, and your mags are designed to deteriorate over time. It's just the way that they are.
Planned obsolescence.
I had a customer from one of the stores that we work for bring AR, brand new. 3 different gunsmiths told him it was the gas block. I'm like, why didn't they switch it out if it's the gas block? He's like, I don't know why. I said, dude, I ran 60 rounds flawlessly through this rifle. I said, what ammo are you using? PMC, bronze. I said, okay, it's not a good ammo, but it's not a Wolf. I said, what kind of magazines are you using? Oh, you know that really cool Star magazine where it's a star, but there's 10 rounds?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's to make
it
California.
Holds
he's
5 10-round mag pulls.
And he's like, it's super cool. I said, yeah.
It's a California thing.
Oh, yeah, the California.
Remember when Ruger did the same thing years ago before they did the BX? They had the little piece that you could connect 3 mags together with. Think of that, but it's for 5 10-round PMags.
So he loads all these magazines. He's telling me everything he's doing when he's shooting it. And I said, okay, well, your gun's ready to pick up at the store. Go pick it up. I said, call me if you have any issues. I'll drive up there and we'll go on the range together. It's been a month. Still haven't heard from him. There's the issue.
Yeah. And that's just it. And that's why, and Drew's sitting there like, well, you're going to let me finish, you assholes. But like he was saying, well, he started to cut up, but he said it's important to put good ammunition in it. And that's the thing, I think, that doesn't get explained at the gun counter to a lot of these people. And they don't understand. And that comes also because sometimes at the gun counter, you have people that don't know anything about firearms. We had a huge rash of people buying SR9C, Ruger SR9C parts for their Security 9. And not understanding why it didn't fit. And then I'd say, well, who told you the parts were the same? And both times it was somebody at Cabela's. 2 different states, but it was a Cabela's. I'm like, well, right. They're no, not even remotely. They're not even the same. And it's not even, they're not the same pistol. It's completely different. And I think people have an expectation that's been drilled into them by a lot of brick and mortar stores and big box stores that it should just eat anything. But it's not the reality by any means.
Yeah.
I can take a Glock and put bad ammo in it and it'll choke on it. Everybody's like, well, I could shoot anything. Yeah, I can prove you wrong. I mean, I work on guns for a living. Trust me, I can prove you wrong.
And it gets worse the more and more you modify the weapon.
Exactly.
That's a big issue.
Now that said, Eric or I probably could build a gun that will eat anything. But
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to be ugly. It's going to hurt to shoot.
It's not going to be a great gun to shoot. It's going to be a pain in the ass.
Like this thing. This is the KS47, my junk build. Right before it got stupid expensive. But you know what? It eats whatever garbage steel case ammo I stick in it. And it's just been a fun little thing. And it started as, hey, a budget build when we started the podcast. But right now, I like it because I can shoot the cheapest ammo you can find. You know, it's
I
really.
thought I was doing the same thing, and then Naima went to $1 a round.
Yeah. Junior screwed the pooch on that one. But for those listening, later on, I've also got, for those that are watching later on, we've got Rainier Arms, masterofarms.com websites up. So, respectively, www.masterofarms.com, www. The Jameson's starting to kick in, fellas. Sorry about that. RainierArms.com.
Oh, we're doing that today?
No, we're See, Junior, you don't prep anybody that you call to have on. You're killing me, man. I bet Drew's like, what? I could be at home having a beer?
I didn't know you were doing this until about 15 minutes ago.
That sounds about right.
I got the homies.
I fucking told you I could kill you sometimes. I told you I was going to misspell it. I told you I was. You could have just said, hey, dumbass, fix it now. No, you made me go look for the chat. Anyway, I'll fix it in a minute. So let's talk about what we were just pretty much on. Different levels of the AR series. What does a top tier weapon mean? All right. So we'll start with Eric on this one from Rainier, not Junior, who's looking at me. I hate you right now. So what would you consider? Obviously, my crappy PSA. That's, you know, and I'm gonna say honestly, it's probably the best thing I've gotten from them in a long while. I mean, I've been impressed with their capabilities come up and coming. It seems like they're getting better machinists and whatnot. Anyway,
I'm actually really excited to see what comes out of PSA because their AK stuff has been pretty cool.
Well,
we've had some of those come through, and then the fact that they just picked up DPMS and AAC, that could be absolutely amazing. And to couple some of the patents that those companies hold with simply the funds that they're able to gain through their garbage receivers and the trash that everyone's picking up from them, like they could pull out some cool shit. I mean, there could be something awesome there.
I mean, and I think that is a big thing of it too, because I think where people have a misunderstanding on some of the stuff that PSA does is they're like copying people, but I don't think they realize that they're actually working with engineers from other big companies to make these products.
Yeah.
So I just want to hit on the side note since Eric brought it up. Did you see Franklin Armory picked up Bushmaster?
Bushmaster. Yeah.
I'm very disappointed.
But so Drew,
right.
what would your answer be? What is the difference between a mil spec and a top tier to you? What would you find? I mean, you guys sell what I would call as a shooter, and with my military background in the infantry, you make a top tier weapon. I would see D-boys and shit running around with your stuff. Honestly, I mean, and people are, hero worship, but honestly, warriors at that level need as light as possible because they're in the shit 24/7.
I would not, because I didn't build a light machine gun. That gun is not meant for sustained high levels of fire. That gun is meant to carry all day, and shoot once or twice.
And I've always told Drew this, not to cut you off, Drew, since I've known them. That is.
Drew's like, fuck you guys, I'm never coming back. You guys are dicks.
No, but it's a sheep gun. Like, that's what I'm going to take backpacking to go sheep hunting. Maybe not that length and barrel, but that's the kind of lightweightness that gun is to really, I can throw it in my backpack and go.
I just love the technology in the thing, dude.
And it is fun, and it's better than a sheep gun because you can get about 90 rounds through it in full auto before it's just too hot to hold. The gun doesn't break, but you don't want to hold it anymore.
Oh yeah, no, you're gonna.
90 rounds.
Oh, hey, you know what? You should try. Get some of those barbecue pit gloves. See, there's a market here. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, we can figure this shit out. I'm old Kydex, man, and I'm always trying to figure out how to keep from burning the shit out of my hands because I have to hold the piece for too long. I'm old at 370 degrees. I'm telling you, we got to get. You know who we get a hold of? Junior knows. Get a hold of John. Him and his tactical undies, he can come up. He'll fix us up, I'm telling you. Because this just is a terrible idea. I mean,
I am holding it on after the end of So it's a specialized thing. It's for a specialized market. If you're walking all day, it's great. If you're doing a lot of patrol with a low expectancy of combat, it's awesome because I saved you, like 4 pounds out of your kit.
Oh yeah.
If you're a tiny person, it's amazing.
I think
if you're expecting a firefight, it's not the one.
No, I would see it as a great patrol rifle for officers and deputies. And
I agree for that price.
Well, yeah, but in private security and things like that, just for the simple fact that you're right, you don't want to. Trust me, I did my thing, and it sucks, dude. When you're walking around in full battle rattle and a full weapon load, and I, for whatever damn reason, had a damn M203 that I had no grenades for because they took them from us from some idiot bunch of trees, and walking around with that strapped around your shoulder 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day is not a good time. It's really not. And I don't think people take that part of it into account until they're doing it. And they're like, boy, this sucks. Because that 8 pounds quickly feels like 16 and so on and so forth. I can't
do some more math for me real quick.
Yeah.
Well, let me bounce back to what Drew's saying, because I think that's probably the most accurate description of like what makes a good rifle, what makes a high quality rifle is one that's purpose dedicated. Because I've got some that I would count as high quality rifles, but it'll hold a 1 minute group, but it's not going to do any better. But that's not what its purpose was. But we've got other rifles that you can certainly build and walk through the process of making it extremely accurate, but it's not going to be a joy to walk around with. And those are usually where you're finding those high quality top tier rifles, is when they're purpose built. And that's what makes Master of Arms rifles that top tier. They have that niche build. They went after that niche, that lightweight, and they kicked it in the teeth. They got the lightest rifle. It runs great. It looks good. And it's the lightest. Hands down, top tier. And anything else outside of that, it doesn't have, it can't do. So, but I would say that's exactly what makes your rifle top tier. What makes a rifle build top tier is that it's dedicated to a purpose. You went after accuracy or durability, and you made it the best.
Come with barbecue gloves. We just got to figure out how to get them into a tactical format. That's the part that I got to figure out. I'm an idea man.
I'm an idea man.
So yeah, and I think Eric's correct on that. Brings a valid point. It is very purpose built. You know what you're getting. You're not just running into any gun store and buying this thing. You're going to him, and you know what you want, and you're getting exactly what you want. And so,
go ahead.
No, Mr. Interrupt everybody. Go ahead, go for it.
It's that kind of Friday for me. And hopping out of like ARs, just for a second, like if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I want a truck gun or a ranch gun," you know what? I'd go pick up instantly? That Mossberg MVP 5.56, because it takes the standard PMags, you throw it in there, and I get to go blasting through. Everything has its purpose, right? Exactly. I think that's 110% it.
Exactly. Well, it's just like I was telling you earlier, because but you have personal reasons against it that we won't get into. But a fight light loader would be perfect for him. But
calm it down, there's Turbo.
See, trying to get him stirred up. I like it stirred up. But I mean, everything has to have like this. KS-47 was purpose built. It all started before everything really went insane. Pardon me, because it was the beginning of when it was starting to get insane, and people were asking us at work, what's the best way to get into these platforms for the best price right now? And right as it exploded, we were just lucky enough to get the parts we needed at the price we got them because of being in the industry. Like now, dude, you're not touching this stuff we built for under $900. And I gotta say, while I love it, and it ain't worth $900. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick about it or say it's terrible. I love a lot of the stuff because Palmetto really is, even before they bought DPMS and AAC, which is really going to help them push forward. They've been coming out with some really cool stuff. They really have. They've been pushing themselves as fast as they can, but they've also been growing very quickly. And so they've used that to bring in talent from places you wouldn't expect in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And talking about like purpose and stuff, it's not that I'm preparing to get into a ride or anything, but I carry a Glock 17 everywhere. So what do? Build a 9mm AR because I know I'll have the same magazines all the way through.
Yep, exactly. Purpose built.
I'll throw out that after $1,500 in upgrades or a $1,500 build, and I'm not talking about Cerakote and titanium nitride coated gold components. I'm talking about, put money into your bolt carrier group, put it into your gas block, and make it adjustable if you want. Good trigger,
put it into your
flame.
barrel.
Right. After $1,500, any mods you do are probably going to be towards that specialization thing. Now you want it to do something special. You want to reach out farther. You want to make it shorter. You want to make it quiet. $1,500. You build a pretty damn good AR, and after that, then you start getting into those premium levels. But you're chasing something.
You're always chasing something, and that's one of the things we've always tried to explain at work for what we do, making parts for guns. That no gun does every one thing. It's just not. That's not feasible because you can. The AR is great. The AR platform is great because you can change uppers at will. As long as you've got this within the same caliber as the magwell, you're golden. But you're still technically changing the whole gun because the lower is still the same, but you've just taken your 9.5-inch upper off that's got, a Surefire can on it and then stuck on your 16-inch mil-spec upper or taken that off and put on a Grendel, so on and so forth. And so that's where, it's one of those things where do you go ahead and get what you need in your niche right off the bat, which is always awesome, or do you try and keep chasing? It's almost like chasing the dragon. I mean, I don't know, because I think those of us that love doing this stuff, not just professionally, but as a hobby too, because it's something that carries out throughout your life. How far do you take the build? Because eventually you hit the point of zero return. You've made it as specialized at one particular thing as you can.
I'm staring Drew back into his soul right now because he's staring into mine.
At what point do you hit diminishing returns, I guess, would be what I'm looking for there. And I
think that depends on what you're trying to get out of the rifle and how much you're really trying to get out of your build. Like, my baby project's been lightweight, accurate 308s. And right now, 16 inches is kind of where it's at, but my rifle still ends up usually with glass right around 14 pounds. And part of it's like, hey, if I start cutting out too much weight here or here, and she's not as accurate as I want anymore. And I'm down to third minute, and we could get less accuracy than that and still be usable. But I think it really is going to come down to what you're chasing and how far you want to chase that particular thing. Because you can take a 20-inch and help you get a 20-inch out to fifth minute and maintain that. But then you've got that 18-inch, and where do you want to compromise is kind of where that's at. But that's going to come back down to education when we're talking with customers in your storefront or in however you guys are interacting with them. That's going to come down to figuring out exactly what they want and how they're going to want to change that down the road, if they want to change it down the road. But most people, you can drop that $1,500 on a quality general purpose rifle and be totally satisfied with what you're going to get out of it in accuracy and durability and what it can run, how hard you can run it. So,
and I think on that, like, so maybe our niche at NAG for our rifles and our customers, just the non-knowing customers, because they don't know. Well, I want a rifle. Okay, that's cool. What do you want to do with it? Home defense? Do you want to do, shooting? Whatever it is I've been really pushing on people understanding what not lightweightness is, like to Drew's extent, but understanding that have you ever carried a full combat load? Do you truly understand what that is? And just talking off of that and then talking reliability. That's the second thing we go into. I'm not talking about, I got one MOA, half MOA, any of that. I'm just truly, okay, let's talk about reliability of that rifle going. Then the third is, let's talk about accuracy. What do you think accuracy is and what it isn't? So when people are like, I want like the Colt in the military, I said, that's a 3 to 4 MOA, right? When you're shooting groups, that's what an average Colt's doing when they receive it. And they're like, oh, really? I said, yeah. Can you have better than that? Absolutely. But, just people understanding, and then that's when we go build that custom rifle. So that's kind of my twist on it for our shop, is just making sure the customer's educated. So when they see a bill of $2,000 or they see a bill of $3,000, whatever it may be, they understand why it's that and what they're getting out of it. Because one of the things that we offer at our shop is we offer a lifetime warranty on our craftsmanship, not the parts where they come from, because we don't manufacture them. But if your cast nut comes, if something comes loose 10 years down the road, bring it to the shop, we're taking care of it. Kind of situation. Now, if I see that you blew the gun up or did something stupid like that, we're going to have a conversation. It's going to cost you X amount. But just so they know when they leave the shop, they are taken care of and they know what they have.
Exactly. So. Joining us now, finally. Oh, I think we lost Drew again. He's got the link if he wants to come on back. So joining us now from work, Chris. Chris, hello.
How's it going, guys?
Good. Good. All right. So we're talking about ARs. Now, here's what I'm going to show now. But, this was not totally intentional because Drew dropped out. But since we
only if you could spell it Rainier, right?
Well, you know what?
Yeah, you cocked it up again, my man. It's Rainier, as in like rainy.
Yeah.
That's how I explained it to him.
No,
it's Rainier.
There you go. I was like, what? That doesn't sound right, but okay. And I was like, damn it. I'm a grunt. Rainy. Here. Rain.
Yeah, that's why I don't get emails from people. I got to try to explain that to them.
But anyhow.
Rainier. Rainier.
So I'm going to hit on this before Eric does. Just because I don't work for Rainier. I'm on the outside. But when it came to AR stuff, I learned after I got out of gunsmithing school, where I learned a lot of my tips and tricks was from Eric. We've had a great friendship since this has all started. But I truly do believe that statement is there when high quality at a good price. Don't get me wrong, I would own every Noveski rifle in the world if I could, but God, I'd be broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also got to understand, too, who's building it. This guy here, with all the knowledge that you could ever need or want, and some you don't want, and I feel his pain in a very real way on that. And so, you got to take into account where you're getting stuff from. People don't understand, I think, and that's why I like to do this the way we do it, is we're not just plugging you guys. You guys get your chance to say, here's how we do things, and let people just know, because I think with more education from inside the industry, the better off people are.
Absolutely.
So, I think, and I don't say that lightly. It's not just because, oh, look, it's an expensive AR. I know what goes into the build of them because, A, I know who you are. I've met you. It's been a couple of years, but we've met. And Eric, of course, those of us he loves, he always talks about nonstop. So, and I know your knowledge base too, because we've spoke before. So I understand that you're not just, well, it's just expensive because it says Rainier. No, it's because you're getting a master built platform. You're not just you're not running in and buying a 6920 that's overinflated because Colt suddenly decided to reverse their virtue signaling there. Oh shit. Sorry, did I say that out loud? You're not getting something that we all in the industry know is just not a good rifle. You're getting a good quality rifle at a good price, because a lot of other companies that do the same thing you guys do, in the same vein, I would say, not the same thing, the same vein, the same area of our industry, charge a whole lot more, and I've had weapons from them and not been impressed. So yeah,
And I think where you and me can firsthand take this, Brandon, is our 2-day demo that we did out here. 30,000 rounds through a rifle in 2 days.
Yeah.
There's two things that Eric used to always swear up and down to me. It was greasy use, which I became a believer after those 2 days, and I run it on everything I do. I run it on everything I do. I sell it to every single customer I know because it is the closest thing to Jesus when it comes to lubrication. And on top of that, seeing Eric's craftsmanship on how he builds his rifles.
I mean, that's it.
Else.
We all got first experience
this much. I probably would have made myself all pretty, got the camera put on.
All right. I'm trying to do too many things at once.
And I'm going to reiterate on that. 30,000 rounds in 2 days, and this rifle didn't skip a beat.
No, it didn't. And it really didn't get cleaned. I mean, honestly, we just didn't have time in between the 2 days because, I mean,
which rifle did you guys do that with? Because this is the first time hearing about this one.
It's the one from the demo when you came down here with all the PDs.
Oh, we're talking about that one rifle. I was thinking you guys went and did a whole other one.
No, I'm talking about 2 years ago when we took the hate machine out.
Absolutely. You know, the best part about that one is that before that one came down there, you guys remember Mike? He was our ops manager at the time.
Yeah.
And he, when we sat down and went over that bid to bring that rifle down there or bring something for you guys to demo, he didn't believe what I was telling him about the grease and about the piston system in that gun. And we went out before that, and we dumped 6,000 rounds in an afternoon in SOCOM battery tests, just nonstop, no fresh lube, no nothing. And we hammered the piss out of that gun. And it was entirely just so I could prove to him that I wasn't crazy, because he looked at me like I was crazy. We're going down to the desert. It's not going to work. I'm like, no, man, it's going to work. So you say 36, what'd you say, 36,000 that we put through that?
That's what we did in 2 days.
Was our tally? And that's after we went and did a battery test on it. I mean, that was, we had the one officer treated it like a belt fed machine gun.
We blew up a suppressor that day.
We blew up 2 suppressors that day on the same gun, but that gun didn't quit. But that's what you are getting with quality companies. You get a company that's been around for a minute, or at least has someone on board who's been around for a minute. And I can't take all this credit. I learned from some other good people who weren't at Rainier Arms. Worked a lot with Bill Larson on that, on a lot of what I do now. So, but that's also the kind of research and development that some of the companies that have been around for a while are willing to put out into their product. And at the end of the day, when you're paying those heavy prices on some of the high end parts, some of the quality parts, that's really what you're paying for, is for some dickhead like me and Eric and Drew to go hammer way too much ammo out in an afternoon just to make sure it works right and isn't going to break down on you, an end user, down the road.
Exactly. And I think that's a very important part of the entire thing. Well, you're coming back looking all angry. Look at him.
Every mechanical
24
device fails.
24 weeks
Exactly. Like Drew just said, every mechanical device fails. But you have to be able to push it to its failure point first to know what that's going to take.
Well,
and that way, well, yeah, exactly. We do.
So you don't.
Exactly. That's why people are always like, hey, will you do this part for this gun? And I'll be like, well, once the craze is up, we'll be able to we just got another new mill in. So now we'll have 2 CNC mills and a lathe in the shop for parts production. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to get into more guns once the craze dies down a little, because right now it's just hard to get stuff. We don't get sent stuff. We buy it because we know we're going to destroy it. So it's rare that companies will say, I beg and plead, and sometimes we get good partnerships out of it, like we have with Taurus, and like we're probably going to end up with Car. They've sent us a couple, because I'm going to jump up and down on Eric's desk one day now that the new mill's here. So once we get it set up, I can be like, we got to do the Galio Glass flat face trigger again, because people are going to string me up by my damn toes if we don't. So, which now I have a machinist that can help me too, and be like, look, we're going to gang up on him. So it really comes down to, let us break the stuff first. But people are always like, here, borrow my gun. I'm like, you really don't want us to do that. You really do. But you can use it for development. I'm like, well, it's probably not going to work right when you get it back, because we tear these things to pieces to develop what we develop. And
it's funny.
It's always entertaining.
Well, it's like when I go to departments with our demo rifles, and they're like, man, that gun looks a little beat up. And I said, well, that means it works still, right? And he's like, huh? I said, it's kind of like a mechanic. Their car's always the worst, but everybody else is amazing.
Because we're looking for that failure point. We're kind of playing with it, waiting for something to go goofy on us, and so we can fix it. And I mean, realistically, we see the problem. We're going to be able to try to put it off that little bit farther down the road anyway.
Exactly. Or at least give you an idea of where it's going to happen and know what to look for too.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is real important, because with the amount of new gun owners we have right now, I don't think a lot of people, and because along with that, you've got all the shutdowns and everything that happened. Now we've got a whole bunch of new people in gun stores and big box stores that, don't have any kind of knowledge base, because they just needed a job after everything that happened. And so they're just spouting off whatever they're told to spout off. And 90% of the time, it ain't gun people telling them this stuff. And that's where you start running into a lot of the stuff I think we deal with right now, where people have an expectation of something but don't understand that's not what it's going to do. Because they don't have people who actually, for a crude way of putting it, in lack of better terms, tear the shit up just to see what it does. Because imagine trying to tell someone, hey, go buy that Toyota Camry TRD and we're going to run it into this wall.
Does Toyota make a Camry TRD? Because
I don't know. It just popped in my head. My damn car's in the shop right now. Some old biddy pulled into the left lane on Merriman Avenue, and so my car's in the shop. They gave me a damn Camry, and today I was like, man, a Camry TRD wouldn't be too bad for like a family car. But it's got this insane whistle that's driving me nuts, because they put all those fins on it. What is with Honda and Toyota? Look, I don't mean this in a crude or mean or racist way, but Japan, what the hell? Why are there fins on every car you're sending over here now? Because it whistled the whole time I had the window down. It acts like a damn deer whistle because the way it sticks out, it was driving me insane.
It's just the air going through your ears.
Well, that too, probably. But it's
for your new customers coming in, for people that are new to firearms that are listening, like the big takeaway, at least from half of this, is going to be don't be afraid to ask questions.
Exactly. Please.
And if you're talking to a guy who says something that sounds just a wee bit retarded, it might be, and you need to get a second opinion. And everybody's got that one dude in your shop. We had a guy, and I won't name names, but if you work at Rainier, you know who this is.
Is it who I'm thinking it is? Is it my best friend?
No, it's not your best friend. I don't know. It might be your best friend.
It starts. He used to. Oh, we'll talk offline.
Yeah, you can't even get in there anymore. But I was sitting when I started at Rainier. I was working in their storefront for a minute just to get the feel of the atmosphere, and we had a customer came in and was like, "Hey, what can you tell me about Daniel Defense?" And this dude looks him just deadpan in the face and was like, "They're proprietary." And everyone behind the desk just head whip right over to him. What the fuck?
Did what?
And he had been there for some time, but that's kind of that thing though, is everyone can be a little bit stupid when it comes to firearms. There's definitely stuff that I don't know about, and I don't know about it. So, but for new guys, people new to firearms, if someone says something that's a little bit fucky, it might be. Go ask somebody else, and that's okay.
Yes.
It's 100% okay to not know something.
I probably have a small reputation at TriggerCon because every single booth I go to, and it's just, you guys will understand my processing because we all do the same thing. I would walk up to a booth. It's like the guys with the folding Glock. Have you ever put a hot load in there and see what happens? No, why would I do that? Well, that lawsuit's going to be amazing once it happens.
Yeah.
But I would do that to people that would come out, and I said, and then some dudes would get pissed, right? Like, why would we do that? And you just walk off because they already don't understand. But then there's dudes that we'd have full-on conversations. I'm like, how do you know when it fails? There's nothing wrong with blowing something up to know the safety points of it. Now, don't do it where it's in your hand. Put it in a vise with some string at least. But
I like how he waits until the end of all of that don't hold it. Like, you should probably lead with that part. Like, definitely don't have it.
One thing at a time here, please. For science, that's the scientific method. One stupid at a time. Take notes.
You gotta have that order of operations.
Right?
But that's that. And somebody's gonna make a comment because I say, but you got to figure out how retarded they really are. You gotta start the levels. You start like, okay, we can navigate through the retardation. Okay, we got to tell them not to do this.
How many people are going to email me about this?
Just make sure you get the right Eric down on that one.
But no, I got a question for you, fellas.
Yeah.
All right. So normally when somebody buys a gun from me or has a gun built like that, and the next question is always, as soon as I hand it to them, okay, what do I do next? I upgrade the trigger, fancy sling, whatever. And I've always historically told them, please go buy 1,000 rounds and shoot all of it. There's no better thing you could do than go out there and shoot the gun. But right now they can't.
Exactly.
Right now they're lucky if they have 50 rounds. So what do you guys think I should tell them?
I mean, and see, that's the kicker right there, because snap caps are even getting hard to find right now, because that was the next thing that when everybody realized, well, I can't shoot live ammo, so I'm going to do a lot of dry fire. But they don't understand they only need 1 or 2 of those per mag, and people are going out and literally buying all of them that they can get their hands on, which makes absolutely no sense to me.
I got to hit on something real quick with that.
Full kit with snap cap.
I 270 rounds.
I appreciate the snap cap concept, but there has been a stigmatism.
Its eyes all dicked up like both of mine. Is that right?
I don't know what word I'm trying to say right now. At least I can spell Rainier though, Brandon.
It has a. You know what? You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
But
it has a stigmatism around it.
People keep thinking that you can't.
I know. I tried to make the space and I dicked it all up. Whatever. Like a third of the end of the way to the bottom.
There that believe you cannot dry fire a weapon without a snap cap. If your firearm is not capable of dry firing without a snap cap, there's something wrong with that firearm.
Here's the thing, though.
It may just be old, but that's still something that you probably don't want to fire too much anyway.
Exactly. You don't necessarily. I mean, there's moderation. Okay.
Yes.
You shouldn't be dry firing 700 times in one day, every day.
No.
See, that's what we run into a lot is, well, I dry fire 500 times a day. What?
First off, no, you don't.
Yeah. I find that, yeah. And if they do, it's like, why? Because, and we're niche. We deal with all the small, cheaper handguns that nobody wants to mess with and try to make them good and better. We're really known for the bodyguard kit. Everybody loves the bodyguard kit because that thing's a monster. Great pocket pistol, great defensive pistol. But we have customers that will go out and shoot the thing every single week. And I'm like, why? What are you doing? It's a gut gun. You pull it, you shoot them in the gut to make them let go, and then you shoot them in the mouth to make them regret it. That's all it's for.
And then you dump it and leave.
I mean, now, it's caveat, we're not giving legal advice out on the show right now, so definitely
does not condone this action.
Exactly. We do not condone this action. But I mean, there's a level, it's like we were talking about earlier, there's a level that weapons can go to. And I think people have an expectation from those of us that do custom stuff to make weapons do things they can't in any way, shape, or form based on their design. And that's certain weapon systems. Like a lot of the stuff we deal with, I just physically can't make an LCP or a bodyguard a sniper rifle. That's not feasible. That being said, I have a customer with a department that they don't want mentioned, but they're local. About 2 hours away. That dude goes out and practices once a month with his bodyguard at 100 yards. And I've got video and I've got targets where he keeps it all in the body, dude. It's all center mass. But he's like, now I don't expect to ever do that. I do that because as I get closer to a target, it's much more accurate. Because he just sits there and practices the fundamentals. That's all he's doing. He's not doing it because he expects he's going to shoot a guy with a bodyguard at 100 yards, because that's just not, that would be an extreme situation. He does it because it forces him to practice the fundamentals of shooting to keep the rounds on target instead of just what we see, Instagram and YouTube operators all the time now. Mag dumps. That's not really how a defensive engagement goes in any way, shape, or form.
Speaking of, what are the terminal effects of a 380 auto at 100 yards?
He's holding, let's see, he's using a normal IRIT I-27 target. Well, what would that be? B-27? Is that what it is in the furthest? I don't know. It's an IRIT. It's the normal B-27, like what you would go do your concealed carry course on at 3, 7, and 10 yards. So it's a man-sized target, and he's aiming just above the top of the head at 100 yards. And it's hitting.
What's the 380 do to a body at 100 yards?
Oh, probably hit it and piss them off. I mean,
it's at least punching through the paper, right?
Yeah, it punches through the paper, but you can.
You ever see the meme of the Russian that got hit with the 7.62 by 39 in Iraq in the head and it's just sticking out?
Oh yeah, because it was from like
exactly.
Yeah, just enough to make you mad. Like somebody just shot me. Are you kidding me right now? It can't be like, I wonder, would it even leave a bruise, to be quite honest? Because you got to figure 800 feet per second out of a 6-inch barrel. So out of a 2.25-inch barrel, probably around closer to 5 or 6-ish.
So if he's
So
wearing a
you
car,
need to get a new firearm.
Yeah, you might not even notice he's wearing a Carhartt.
He's got, well, especially where we live in North Carolina, that is a definite Carhartt body armor. See, I'm telling you, we're coming up with perfect ideas tonight. Barbecue gloves, somehow turned into tack gloves for your rifles. I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna figure this out one way or another without using asbestos. That's probably any of us that have ever crewed a machine gun in the military, we're all gonna die of mesothelioma. It's just a matter of time.
Can I just build you a machine gun? Don't take one of my sheep guns, thank you, Eric, and make it a machine gun. I'll just build you a machine gun.
That works too.
All right.
I do like machine. That's the one thing I do miss about being in the Army is just machine guns. Like they just go into the range and just.
My favorite today is a Mark 19.
Yeah, but we never. No, I'd say the coolest was the TOW. That was right before I got out.
Bro, I have a story about a TOW missile at Fort Irwin. So we had a whole bunch of expired missiles, and they
For
all
those
had to
that
be
don't
shot.
know, since I'm going to interrupt you now, interrupt. A TOW is a tubularly launched, optically tracked, wire-guided missile fired from Bradleys and Humvees, and actually a tripod. If you were the old 11H series, which those poor bastards would huck that thing, and that tripod's like 80 pounds, something like that.
So now, Mr. Dictionary, explain what a hang missile is.
Oh no, that's no good. That's when it doesn't leave the launcher. That's when you hear the motor kick up in the rocket and then nothing happens and it just stays in the launcher and you have a live warhead in your launcher.
I've never seen a group of men run so fast in their lives.
Especially the gunner, because it's only like 2 feet away from his head.
So we went out the tube and it landed in front of the Humvee.
See, that's not too bad.
Yeah. I've never seen somebody run so fast.
To the topic of ARs. So we've covered a lot. I know, right? We always go off on tangents. We've covered a lot. All right. But let's ask our two expert builders here. All right. What would you, right now in the current climate, outside of your companies, you can't use your company's weapons at all. All right. And you had to source everything from the internet, from different shops or different places or whatever. What would you be looking for parts wise and quality wise? And where would you get it from?
Kalashnikov.
I mean, the correct answer is yes. Is AK-47 is heavy, is reliable. As if it fails, you can always hit him with it.
I've got my AK in this case, and I've got all 9 rounds I have for it. I've got one 9-round magazine in there.
See, I'm glad somebody else has one of those because people think that I'm lying. I actually have a 9 and a 3-round magazine because I ended up with just a box of parts from some dude. And he was like, here, you can have all these old parts. And I was like, holy shit, a 3-round mag. I can hunt with my AK now. Whee! All right, so we'll start with Drew on this one. So where would you source parts from outside of yourself? Like I said, that's off limits.
Where would I source parts? Oh, Wing Tactical for sure. In California. Their prices aren't the lowest, but man, I get parts usually the next day, and they've got one of everything, which not many people can say today.
No, that is by and far. So that's Wing Tactical.
Yep. Down in SoCal. I think so.
Well, that's what we'll go with. I mean, if we're wrong, obviously, tactical. Okay, I at least spelled tactical right. We're moving in the right direction. I had to double check myself literally right now because I'm an idiot. So Drew votes Wing Tactical. All right, so that's his go-to. And again, Drew builds the lightest AR in the world. So, I mean, I'll take his advice. I don't know about anybody else out there, but I would.
Well, thank you.
See, I feel
I'm
like
right now. So
So, all right. So, Eric, your turn. Where would you go?
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that.
Oh, that's true.
Rainier Arms. We're not a manufacturer. Remember, I work for a distributor, and I'm just the gunsmith on hand for a distributor. So like I handle our own manufacturing stuff, but we also buy stuff. We carry stuff from just about everybody at this point, even other distributors like Primary Arms and Brownells. We carry their stuff as well, and I don't. They carry our stuff. I don't know where I could go where I wouldn't have my stuff or somebody else's stuff already on board. But if I was going to pick another distributor right off the bat, I would have to say Weapon Outfitters has been really good to me when I need some stuff, or as far as the quality of components that they carry. They've been good to me for that.
I think I've used them before, actually. Hey, look, I spelled that one right, too. Maybe I'm not an idiot. I just don't know how to spell one word, you dicks. You missed it. I got rode with a saddle for spelling Rainier wrong earlier. So, again, after you disconnected and came back at your house, Drew, they just kept going. They were being mean.
Well, I'm at my mom's house. The Greyhounds are cheaper.
All right, Chris, what about you? Where would you go right now? Now, keep in mind, I'm going to give you the caveat of you can't use our dealer accounts. You would have to go straight to the internet. And keep in mind right now the way the current market is. So where would you go?
Well, it kind of sucks for me because the place I go through right now, they've been having a lot of shortages and stuff. But I've always liked to use Gallery of Guns, and I know they kind of conglomerate a lot of other people together. But as far as just like purchasing weapons and seeing kind of what's on there, Gallery of Guns has always been really good. I get really good deals on there. So that's kind of been my go-to.
All right, Junior. Can't use your own website. And just because you've been a dick all night, you can't use either of our guests' website either. Because that's what you deserve for being a jerk to Drew and Eric both, cutting them off every time they open their mouth, because that's what you do.
I got like all my friends in one room. I feel special right now.
He's like, it's my birthday, and it's not even my birthday.
Oh, man. That... I got two, and one's just going to pick up a straight rifle, and one's going to get parts.
Okay, well, we'll start with rifle first. How's that?
ADM, American Defense Manufacturing, they make a lot of rings. What a lot of people don't know, they make rifles too.
That's way too much to type out. So ADM,
Yep.
Google ADM, American Defense Manufacturing, and you'll find that.
The reason a big fan of American Defense Manufacturing, have had great customer service with them on the ring side. It's just something super. They're warranted. So, and this comes from the law enforcement side. So, if an officer gets an officer involved shooting, the rifle gets taken away or the pistol because they have to do an investigation. So, what they actually do is they give them a loaner rifle so the officer still has a rifle after that happens. That's just amazing customer service to me.
That really is. That's a big deal.
Sounds
now,
extra expensive for a place like Bakersfield.
Well, there is that.
For going to grab parts, man, I'm a big fan of AR-15 discount parts. They have a lot of stuff. And you can go get it when you need to. It's hard for everybody to get parts right now.
And it really is. And I don't think people without a manufacturing background of some sort understand just how hard it is to come by raw materials right now to begin with. Because a lot of the shutdowns affected stuff, but it's also right now, in the trucking industry and other shipping industries, retail loads are getting paid a lot more than raw material loads, and that's just the way it is. If you're trying to make money and your living is shipping things, what are you going to pick? You're going to pick the one that pays more. Yep. So it's been real hard to get just raw materials for a lot of different stuff.
And what about you, Brandon? Raw materials that gets processed overseas and then shipped back in state.
Well,
that's the problem. That's what we've been seeing on our end is the stuff that we get raw materials wise. Ends up getting processed cheaper overseas or out of country, and then the shutdown kicked us in the teeth that way.
Yeah, that's you can really tell when it's supposedly American made, but you can look at it and go, no, that was definitely smelted in China. That was it's. And I think there's major manufacturers that are running into that too. Just for the simple fact that you don't know until you get it. Like, oh, this was supposed to be American-made steel. And then you look at it and go, oh, that's totally made in China. But we see that, too. We've seen that in our normal industry back when all that Winchester fake ammo got into the country and hit the shelves. That 5.56 a couple years ago that just blowing people's guns up. Oh, this isn't a real lot number. This is all from China, like an entire cargo ship. Well, it wasn't that much, but you get my point.
We had 2 customers' guns that we ended up replacing, and Winchester even paid for it on our end, so that was pretty cool.
How terrible would you feel, though, to be Winchester and be like, are you shitting me right now? Did this really just happen?
It was not a happy interaction.
Oh,
But they went to bat, at least for my customers. They went to bat and they paid for it.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal to me.
That speaks a lot on them. All right, so I guess it's my turn now. Well, we all know my love for PSA, even though in the same breath I'm like, But I guess I would have a few too, but that's because I've been scouring for different builds lately, just to see who has parts and who has what. So obviously, Palmetto State, and I agree with Rainier Eric because it's easier to just say that and not confuse anybody. I think it's real exciting that they got AAC and DPMS. I mean, that is. Dude, they're already turning out. The fact that they worked with Magpul on the PSA 5 whenever it finally comes out, I don't care. I'll end up saving up and getting one because it's going to be cool, man. It's something, it's an older platform, but it's something that's completely made from the ground up, at least in the grip framing area. All brand new stuff. Like, oh, that's a big deal. I don't think people who've never been into weapons of different countries understand what kind of a big deal that is, because it was really hard to get those kits into the country originally. A lot of the old stuff was really hard to get in after, the 86 ban. It was real hard to get the real deal. And now we're going to have a close approximation that doesn't cost $4,000. So, again, buying purpose built. Do you want the HK because it says HK, or do you just want to throw some rounds every now and again? There's your 2 options. The PSA 5 will probably end up being a lot more than what it was quoted at SHOT Show this year, just because of how hard stuff is to get. But it's going to be a whole lot less than the 4K MP5S. What is it? The MP5KS? Is that what the HK one is? I think so.
Something like that. So,
Bear Creek.
Yeah.
I would do Bear Creek Arsenal too. Those would be my 2, PSA and Bear Creek Arsenal. For rifles, since we're talking about AR stuff. Obviously, I gave us the caveat we can't use our 2 guests tonight, but given the option, obviously I'd go to Rainier because I know what they carry, and you're going to get a much higher end build there. But like I said, we can't use who's on tonight. So those would be the ones that we would go to, guys.
So real quick on ARs, and I know something we didn't touch on. Let's talk about quality of iron sights and optics just real quick. It doesn't need to be in the in-depth that we went into, but you get what you pay for. You don't have to have an optic that costs more than your rifle. That's a thing of the past, in my opinion. But know what's quality and junk when it comes out, because your rifle may shoot amazing, but if your optic can't hold zero or your iron sights are garbage, the rifle's useless.
Yep, exactly. I mean, I've got the Magpul Pro backup iron sights on little Super Beast here, and that's $250 set of sights right now. And even before that, you were looking at retail about the same, because they're about $120 a sight. But once you zero it, you have a good quality iron sight on it. I know that I don't have to worry about it breaking.
Have you seen the new ones from Chris and Defiance?
I have not.
I mean, they've been around for a while. They're not like new. I just started putting them on our in-house builds, but their Steel series is really, really nice. Definitely worth checking out if you guys are looking for some less expensive than the Magpul iron sights.
No, what were they again?
Chris, like the guys that do the Vector, they went on a little spin-off and did the Defiance brand, their cheapo brand deal, and but Chris, they do a polymer and they do a Steel series, and the Steel series is nice.
I'll have to check those out. So just I'll Google Defiant sights. Well, since we're all dropping like flies at this point, I guess we'll go ahead and finish it out. I don't think Drew's going to make it back. I think he's having some internet issues. So we'll let Eric here, Rainier, finish with his self-plugging of the company and whatnot, as we always do to finish out the podcast. Selfish promote, or what did I say? What do I always say? See, this is why I have Junior here, because he reminds me, because I'm 40 and losing my damn mind already. Apparently by 60 I'll be in the old folks home. Can't remember shit.
The shameless butt plug.
Yeah, the shameless promotion. That's what we're going for.
Yeah.
And so we can find your guys' products and other high quality products where, Eric?
At RainierArms.com.
RainierArms.com, everybody. We've lost Eric Heine of NAG, but go check out NAG Industries at nagindustries.com. Definitely go check out.
Anyway.
Check out mastersofarms.com. Masterofarms.com, sorry. Actually, I fixed it where I spelled Rainier correctly because I was made to feel dumb. Look at that. So up on the screen, if you're watching, there you go. Chris, thank you for joining us tonight. My coworker there, Chris. And as always, everyone, be safe, be accurate, and God bless.